Hi, we're Lauren and Craig, and we've been travelling the world together since 2008. During the lockdowns, we realised we wouldn't be able to travel abroad for a while, so we decided to buy Helga, a 1989 motorhome, and our plan was to travel all around the UK to the wildest places we could find. So it's finally time to explore our home country, and I think the landscapes and wildlife we witnessed will completely surprise you. In this episode, we're spending a month exploring Wales, and I'm pretty excited as I'm half Welsh. It's been 7 years since we last visited Wales, so we're going to return to some of our favourite spots and also explore some new ones too. And we're kicking off in the south of the country, exploring the Brecon Beacons National Park. We arrived to a really quiet area which didn't have any crowd, so it was just us and the wild horses. The weather was not on our side, with lots of rain and cloud, but we managed to make our way up Penny Fan, which is the highest hill in the Brecon Beacons. Then we took a detour to the valleys because some people told us these roads were really amazing, and they were, but Helga, our campervan, did not like those steep hills. The south of Wales has some really beautiful waterfalls, so we headed to these ones, and we actually took a different path and ended up on the other side to everyone else, where we got this spectacular view of this waterfall. It was a rare sunny day, so we couldn't resist a swim in the pool below. And then we headed back to the hills to do some hiking to see these beautiful lakes. Helga needed a few things fixing, so Craig donned this plastic bag to protect his t-shirt while he laid on the floor. And finally, the weather seemed to perk up. We had some beautiful sunsets, and we headed towards the Gow Peninsula. We've been there before, but it seems so much busier this time, and it kind of ruined it, but there was a nice view of the sea from our campervan. We're now in Pembrokeshire, which is well known for its coastline and dramatic cliff-top walks. We also lucked out with seeing some snakes and this beautiful swan which was reflected in the lake. We had a particularly foggy day along the coast, and out of nowhere when we headed inland we had this amazing sunset. We had to quickly run up the hill to try and get the best view, and we were above the clouds up there. We made a rule a few years ago that whenever we live in a van we would also buy an inflatable boat, so this is our latest one, Roland III, and she went on her first outing on a river. And she didn't sink, so that was great news. We really wanted to find some unique swimming spots on this trip, and we lucked out with this abandoned quarry which had crystal clear water in it. Cardigan Bay is a great area to see wild dolphins. They're so close to the shore that you can just do a cliff-top walk and watch them from there. We even saw them from the harbour in the village, and were able to just eat our fish and chips while watching them jump in front of us. Then we ventured north to Snowdonia National Park, which is one of my favourite areas in the UK. The weather was a bit iffy when we arrived though, and most of our hikes were in thick fog. And the ground was totally waterlogged, so we got pretty wet on these hikes. But this is why we came back to Snowdonia and why we love it so much. We've got mountains and crystal clear waterfalls to swim in. We found some pretty idyllic spots to park up right beside the lakes, and after a long day hiking it was so nice to just enjoy the view and take Roland out on the water. The sun was up so early in the morning and it would be scorching hot in our van, so sometimes Craig would go for a swim straight away. Now that the sun's finally shining, we can hike our favourite mountains in Snowdonia. This is our second time up this peak. It's really rocky, and we opted for the more challenging route this time along the north face. This route is a grade 1 scramble, which means there's not really a pathway, it's just rocks that you have to pull yourself up, so you're using your hands the whole way. We met some wild mountain goats at the top, which were very civilised when they went to go up the ladder and cross into the next field. We ended up doing a huge horseshoe hike around all of these mountain tops, and it took all day. It was completely exhausting, but the views were absolutely spectacular. On our way back down, we couldn't wait to jump in this lake and cool off. And I was feeling pretty smug that I'd carried my inflatable tube all the way up the mountain, as it was perfect to relax in. We had a great forecast for the next day as well, so we decided to make our way up Woodba, which is otherwise known as Mount Snowdon. There are lots of different routes to head up this mountain. We've tried 2 different ones before, and this time we wanted to go for the most challenging one, so we headed up Crib Goch. It's known as being one of the most dangerous ridgelines in the UK, and it's a complete knife edge at the top. It's extremely exposed and a scramble the whole way, so I was basically on all fours the whole route, and I looked like a demonic animal crawling my way along. We had a lot of fun scrambling across this ridge, but it's definitely a route that should only be undertaken by experienced hikers with a good head for heights. After one last night in Snowdonia, we made our way to Anglesey, which is a large island connected to the mainland by a bridge. It was our first time visiting here, and we were blown away by the scenery. The beaches have this incredible view of the mountains in Snowdonia. So we spent the day walking along these beaches and having a little picnic with an amazing view. Not too far away was a forest where we got to spot our first ever red squirrel. And we found a nice quiet spot to camp, which was near this sea inlet, and the water was so calm that all the moody sky was reflected. Anglesey has a lot of industrial heritage, and one of the sites we wanted to visit were these old brickworks. It's built right by the sea, and there used to be a working harbour where they delivered bricks around the world by boat. But one of the most interesting sites we found were these old abandoned copper mines. There were so many colours from all of the different minerals, so we felt like we were on another planet. Before we left Wales, we made sure to stop at this aqueduct, which we've never seen before, and it's basically a bridge or a viaduct where the canal can continue straight across this river. I hope you enjoyed this video of us showing you all these beautiful spots in Wales, and in the next episode we're exploring Northern England.